That was far less exciting than I thought. Hey everybody, welcome back to week 2 of Breakdown. Thanks for all your questions last week and for tagging Ellen at Ellen DeGeneres. You know the picture with the cute little hearts in her eyes. So hopefully we'll get on the Ellen show. But for this week, we have many more questions submitted by you. Thank you. Keep sending them to me or emailing them to me, warrenjj97@gmail.com. So this week for our first question, I have one of my friends here to help us out. So please welcome Lauren. Awesome, here she is. So, hey Lauren.
Hello.
You want to tell everybody about you? Where are you from?
Los Angeles.
Nice. That's where Ellen lives, by the way. So, pretty cool. Yeah.
Thank you.
So Lauren and I actually study here at Oxford together for the year. But we also studied together back in the U.S. Yeah. And we're recently best friends and Ellen's stalkers.
I wouldn't call it stalking.
Yeah, it's just
enthusiastic YouTubing.
Yeah, admiring, right? For question 1, Lauren's going to help us. So, question 1, are you ready? So, if children usually have a mother and a father, is it selfish or unnatural for gay couples to be parents? Here you go, everybody.
Well, there is I don't remember their names, but there's there's 2 penguins that adopted a daughter, and the daughter also turned out to have a female partner.
So are the penguins 2...
2 male? The penguins are 2 males.
2
yes.
daddy penguins?
So
wow.
I should have said that.
Goals.
Parks and Rec, but that's... I think it's based off of it. I'm not sure. Anyway, and just basically every species we've studied, we've found homosexuality. So if we're talking in terms of natural or unnatural, then pretty much every species exhibits it.
So you're saying that every animal, including humans, it's completely natural for there to be 2 partners of the same sex?
Yes.
Okay. This question also, presupposes that people have 2 parents. There's obviously lots of families out there that don't have both a mom and a dad.
Right. I know people who have also been raised by a single parent, and they've turned out fine.
Yeah.
But I think the point is that you have role models from other parts of your community. So you don't just have your parents, and you can have both male and female role models from
Right, so it's not just we look up to mommy or daddy and daddy, because not every situation is like that, no matter if you're gay or straight.
Yeah, a child will have exposition to different people, no matter who they're raised by, who their parents are. The thing is that there have been many studies, even since the late 70s, about children of same-sex couples, and they found that they developed the same as their peers, and that emotionally and physically and just how they develop in school, education-wise, that they have the same development, and there doesn't seem to be any latency. There's no problem.
So they're the same as children who grow up with maybe just a mom or a dad or a mom and dad. It doesn't matter what your parents are sexually orientated. It's just not every couple needs to have babies to evolve as a society.
Yeah. Okay. Everyone contributes something.
Differently. Ah, okay.
Anyway.
I like that. I'm going to use that, by the way. Yeah. This is going to be in there, too.
Oh, good. Okay.
Because we're natural now.
Cool.
Yeah, sweet. This would make a good podcast, though. If you think so, let us know. Well, thanks, Lauren, for all of your input and knowledge on this topic. And, yeah.
If you also, just really fun to Google. There's a lot of interesting articles on it. And if you want actual scientific information about it, look it up.
Love scientific information.
It's important.
Yes, it is. Thank you.
Bye.
All right, say bye to Lauren. Bye, Lauren. All right, so our second question for this week is, how do you as a gay man read verses like Leviticus 18:22 and still believe God creates gay people the way they are? I think that's a really great question, and honestly, I grew up in a really small town, and so we didn't have a lot of out gay people, and a lot of people in my church weren't really sure that being gay was okay. So luckily though, in my senior year, we got this really great pastor who preached this sermon about how our church should be inclusive. And of course there was backlash though, and there was all of this stuff over the church bulletin that quoted things like Leviticus 18:22, which says, "A man shall not lie with a man as with a woman, for it is an abomination." It sounds very theatrical. So this verse is quoted a lot, so let's look at it. I think that's a really good question. This is going to get really nerdy, so just a forewarning that we're going to dive into the depths here, because I love this stuff. So if you get bored, feel free to, like, I don't know, snooze, but still like and share. So here we go. "You shall not lie with a male as with a woman. It is an abomination." Okay, so the first thing there, that last word, abomination, really, like, feels theatrical. It sounds like a gay person wrote it, right? Abomination. So, let's talk about this. This word is actually a mistranslation. In other places in the Torah, this same Hebrew word is used to describe something that's unclean physically. So saying abomination implies that it's impure, that it's morally wrong. But what this verse is saying is that there's something physically dirty and unclean about this act. Now that's a big concept, and we'll break it down a little more, but first thing to know is that this verse from this mistranslation is not talking about something moral. It's talking about a physical act. So what is this physical act? Well, it will help. I told you we'd get nerdy, I'm sorry. So it will help if we go to the verse right before, verse 21. "You shall not give any of your offspring to sacrifice them to Molech," which was the god of the people nearby the Israelites, who was depicted as a bull with the shoulders and the head of a man. So you should not give any of your offspring in sacrifice to Molech, and so profane the name of your God, for I am the Lord your God. You shall not lie with a male as with a woman, for it is an abomination. Verse 23, "You shall not have sexual relations with any animal," like the bull Molech, which was idol worship because it was a god, "and defile yourself with it. Nor shall any woman give herself to an animal, like the bull Molech, who was a different god, to have sexual relations with it, for it is a perversion." So this verse about male not lying with a male as with a woman is squished here, in between two verses talking about idol worship. So don't sacrifice your children to this bull, men shouldn't have sex with men, and women shouldn't go around having sex with animals, and anyone shouldn't have sex with animals. And this is all about that idol worship. So what does that tell us about the men should not lie with men? Well, the first thing to know is that with any crime in the Hebrew Bible, to prove it, you needed 4 witnesses. I don't know about you, but there's usually not a lot of people watching when you're having sex. So the only way that this would actually be a crime is not if it was sex between a couple, but if it was something public, because that's the only time you would have witnesses. So if it's a public display of idolatry. So what this verse is probably meaning is that if you're having sex with a man, i.e. the priest in the temple of Molech, then that's not okay. Duh, because 1, you're worshiping a different god, and 2, you don't want to defile the priest. Duh. So probably what this verse is saying, and it's clear that people just need to read their Bibles. The verse before and after says, don't do this stuff to this bull man. So this verse is probably about idol worship, and because that's the only time you'd have enough people to prove it to be true. Now, other translations, like the New Living Translation, say, "Do not practice homosexuality, for it is a detestable sin." Now, that's just a complete mistranslation. They didn't even look at the Hebrew. They're taking from the King James Version, which says, "Man shall not lie with man," and they say, oh, today that means homosexuality. But no, it did not mean that at all, because it doesn't talk about being oriented to love the same gender. It just talks about this act, which is something physical, which was worshiping a different god. So I hope that wasn't too much overload for you, but that's what we have for this week. Thank you for all your questions. Please keep liking and sharing this video and tagging at The Ellen Show. You know, the picture with the 2 heart eyes. Just tag her in the comments on Instagram, here on Facebook, or here on YouTube. Like this, share this, please, 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 so we can catch Ellen's attention and share this message with the world. More importantly, share this with your friends and family so they can learn with you as well. So, thank you so much for sending questions. Continue to send them in since we have 2 more weeks, and we'll see you back here. Bye!